Hi again. My son had to talk to me, of course. Okay, so here's what I want to share, guys. So part of my improving my health, I started going to yoga classes a lot. I started doing some of these. I guess you could call them intermittent fast, but in my case, I prefer to just do a few days at a time and then eat normally for a while because I found trying to time myself during the day. I've tried that a little bit, but I find that it's just like I don't want to say it's more trouble than it's worth because any kind of fasting has been shown to have all kinds of health benefits, but it just seems it's too much work for me, So for me, it's just easier to just do 3 to 5 days at a time, maybe once a month, once every month and a half. That's kind of been my pattern. So I definitely think it's great for health. You give your body a chance to detox a bit, and it's also been helping me to maintain my weight, quite frankly, because definitely with when CV started, I stopped going to the gym. So now here in Playa del Carmen, I'm grateful. I found out there are literally daily yoga classes I can go to for 50 pesos a class. It's insane. It's incredible, which is like, what is that? Like $3 4 Canadian. Incredible. So that's what I've been doing. And but the message that I got in my ayahuasca ceremony is that, like, once again, I got the sense that Earth is going through an ascension process. There's a raising of frequencies that's happening, which is why more and more people are being called to all these spiritual practices, including things like ayahuasca, you name it, all the other plant medicines and ancestral medicines, meditation, yoga. I see more and more people, men and women, being called to these practices. And here in the Riviera Maya, here in Playa del Carmen, perhaps more than anywhere else in the world, we really are a hub of light here, and and I got a clear message in my ayahuasca ceremony that if people have the desire to ascend or really raise their vibration, that does not coexist with eating animals, participating in the suffering of other creatures. So I got a very clear message, like no meat, no dairy, no animal products of any kind. And then, of course, I've been a vegan for the past, I guess, 2.5 years or so, since December of 2018 or November of 2018. Prior to that, I was a vegetarian for a very long time, and I've also when I was around 19, 20, I also actually even tried like raw veganism and so on, but which was amazing, by the way. But then I kind of chickened out, and for various reasons, I kind of just fell back into a regular vegetarian diet. But anyway, yeah, like I got a very clear message that those of us who aspire to raise our vibration to be part of this new reality, none of that. We cannot have meat, any animal-based products. If you're participating in the suffering of other species, it's not conducive to ascension, basically. And so I was curious about honey because I grew up in a family where my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, who I loved dearly, in the later part of his life became a beekeeper. So I grew up around bees, helping my grandfather with the bees. So I had a very affectionate relationship with the bees, and my grandfather loved beekeeping. It was something that I guess it was a quiet, enjoyable practice for him. And as a child, I really didn't think much of it. I got stung by the bees a number of times, but that's about it. And I love the taste of honey. I mean, who doesn't love the taste of honey? And so, but in my ayahuasca journey last night, because you're accessing like this higher planes of consciousness and you're interacting with beings of all kinds, I asked kind of like the consciousness of the bees if they're okay with this. And it became very clear to me that man has been, I'm trying to find a kind word for it, but I guess invasive would be the least of the bad words that come to mind. Man interfered with the species. The bees are an extremely intelligent species. They're very well organized. They have their own civilization essentially. And what we have done, and I know this may sound crazy to some of you, and I'm fine with being judged. I'm fine with whatever you may think, but I got the sense that man was so rough in interfering with the species, completely interfering, and in some sense abusing these species, the bees, and no, I got the sense that the bees felt pretty much violated by how men have been treating them. I'm kind of freezing after this. The cenote water is pretty cold, and and essentially they felt violated. And I was sharing this with a fellow participant, and she's like, "Yeah, that's why they sting." Very funny, and in the end, I was like, "Yeah, I understood." And now that I think about it, how my grandfather and how beekeeping is practiced. Essentially, what they do is what beekeepers do is they extract the honey from the honeybee, from the honeycomb, and then in order for the bees to produce more honey, I remember what my grandfather used to do. He would put trays of sugar water, so that the bees would feed on that, and I guess produce more honey. But I'm like, sugar water, that's not exactly natural. I mean, sugar is a processed byproduct of some other plants. So I'm like, there's something off here, I don't fully understand the whole process, but I just know. Yeah, I mean, that was like after my ayahuasca journey was done. But essentially, so in the ayahuasca journey, I asked the collective of the bees if they're okay with it. And no, first of all, I asked them, and I understood that they're not happy with it. They're not happy with this practice. They're not happy with man's interference in their civilization. And I asked them again, because I love the taste of honey, can we please have some of your honey? And the message that I got, I was like, I guess if you really want it. It was almost like a concession. But in other words, again, they didn't, they were not cool with it, to be honest. It was like a concession. It's like, I guess if you want it, but I'm like, I don't want a gift that's given in that spirit. So essentially the message for me is, no, I don't want to participate in that practice either. I really understood it. And there are many vegans who feel strongly about this. I never really understood it, but now I do. And again, you may judge me if you want to, but it was a powerful message I received, and a very compassionate one. And I wanted to share that with you guys. And yeah, so moving forward, I guess I was a vegan that ate honey. I'm not gonna eat honey anymore. And I don't want to participate in that. Then I guess, man, there are so many levels. And some people may feel that, well, but do you still wear leather shoes? Do you still? Sure, there are many levels in which we can be more conscious about our habits, about what we use, about what we put in our bodies, about what we put on our bodies, about what we use in our homes. How can we be more conscious? How can we be more compassionate with our fellow living creatures? And along the same note, it was a very funny experience that happened because, I'm having these conversations with the bees, or this, I guess, level of communication with the bee collective. And at the same time, I was getting like brutally bitten by what, like, really, like I got bitten all over my body. I had some natural mosquito repellent, but it wasn't as effective as I would have liked. So I got bit like in various places. I'm full of like ant bites, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? These little ants! I can't believe like little ants can bite so hard."